All right, guys. So let me tell you my testimony. I grew up in church my whole life. I hated it so much. I thought it was the dumbest thing I ever did. Um, as a child, I didn't mind it, but when I got into my teenage years, that's when I started despising it. Started hating it a lot. Um, I saw no good in it. I saw just a bunch of hypocrisy, bunch of fake people. People just judging me for the way that I look, the way that I would dress, and man, my parents would force me into it. My mom would try to force me into baptism or reading my Bible and all that religious stuff that I didn't want to do. Um, I was a part of that, and I grew up in a family like that. Um, I never liked it, not one bit, because that was never who I was. That was who I am. I wasn't passionate about church at all, um, not one bit. Um, and then during that time, I actually began to cry out to God, and and so when I started crying out to God, I was being really genuine about it. Um, it was something that was real. It was something that God, I want to know you if you really are real, if you really are there, and if you really do exist, not because the church says so, or because my parents say so, or my brother or my sister say so. But I want to know you if you're there and you actually care about me um, as a human being, and you just care about me in my anger and in my depression and any suicidal thought I may have because I was just hating my life, just going to church and whatnot. Um, and then what had happened was that, um, so I go to a conference every single year with my family, and it's at this conference that I actually began uh, to cry. Um, I was with the youth, right? I was 16 back in 2009. This is in Los Angeles, California, and for the first time, man, I actually wept, and I felt like I actually understood um, the cross and what Jesus had done for me. And for the first time, it felt like that no matter what had anybody has said, it felt like I was loved. No matter what anybody thought of me, I was loved, and I felt it all around me, and I was just tearing up, and it just got to me, like I just couldn't get it away from me, and so when that had happened, well, honestly, I was actually trying to deny it for a whole month. I had gone back, to my house, go back to to Texas, and I felt like I kind of just forgot about it because I thought it was kind of a phase, like, oh, it's just I'm just caught up in the moment, but that actually proved me wrong, because I felt like I just couldn't escape what I had experienced, and so for a whole month I was like I was wrestling with this. Was this really real? Was this a phase, man? Was this really God Himself trying to speak to me? And I remember I kept on praying about it, and I prayed about it, and I prayed about it. And remember one Saturday night um, that I prayed to God. I'm like, God, if this is really real, like, I need to do this. Show me a sign. And well, the next Sunday morning, I say that he did show me a sign, and at the church, and well, that's when I went up to the pastor and I talked to him, and uh, and I said to him, I think God's trying to tell me something, and and he said, what is it? And at that point, I kind of just broke down in tears in his office, and I had no words. I had none. Um, and he just patted me on the back, and he said, "Do you want to talk about it?" I told him no. And it's all like, "You want to get baptized?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do. I really do want to do this." And so almost the whole service, I just cried, and man, I'm just trying to wipe tears off my face. And well, at the end of the service, I went up there, and you know, the pastor invites people up to see who wants to follow Jesus. That's what I did, and man, praise God for it. Uh, I did it. I told the congregation that I wanted to follow this Jesus, and I wanted to follow him because I felt a sense of worth, and a sense of purpose, and a sense of being loved, even when I couldn't find that in anywhere else, in friends, even in family. Um, for the most part, I just felt by myself, and I felt alone, and I felt like I never really mattered to anybody or to anything. And so that's why I chose Jesus. Um, that's why I chose to do this, and that's why I chose to get baptized that very day. Um, and then my brother, who was with me at that time, he called my parents up because they were at another church like 7 minutes away. Because there was a Spanish speaking church, and we weren't really good, and so we had always come to an English one. My mom had always dropped us off at an English church, like, a couple minutes away. And well, they came, and they cried, and they just hugged me, um, because they could see that God really did do something in me, and that's my testimony. And I could say that it hasn't been perfect, but it's definitely worth it. It's definitely it definitely is a battle, but it's a battle worth fighting for. If my king did that for me, if he died for me, then I'll live and die for him. And that's all I gotta say. In Jesus, I find worth, and in Jesus, I find purpose. And I know who I am, and I find my self worth. And that's just something that young people are trying to find in money, in how many people like them, or in whatever. And it's not working. And so, uh, choose Jesus if you're just tired and weary. Um, Jesus is the way, and he's the way, the truth, and the life. And there's no other way. And so, that being said, God bless you. Thank you for hearing my testimony. I'll see you later.